If you were lucky like I was, you grew up near one of these. What's up, nerds? And welcome to my current hyperfocus, rocket slides. They started popping up in playgrounds during the 1960s space race and were pretty prevalent across the states during the 1970s and 80s. Mine was in Vandergrift Park in Arlington, Texas. You can spot a shadow of it in old satellite images, proving that it wasn't just a young nerd's chickenpox fever dream, but for the life of me, I cannot find a single photo of it. If you have one, please let me know. Unfortunately, Parks Department started removing playground rockets around the 1990s due to safety concerns. I can't blame them. I mean, the entire concept was you were running around inside a rusty metal cage 26 feet in the air over an unprotected hole in the floor. Was it fun? You bet it was. And yeah, I miss them. However, I am not the type of person who pines for the days of blacktop burns and mercurochrome and bitches about how much safer things are these days, because people who romanticize the notion of their own children being injured are f***ing weird. As an adult, however, I can do what I want. And I want to build myself one. I'm starting with the fins because these are going to need a few coats of primer and paint, so I can keep coming back to these as I work on everything else. And these are detail pieces that I'll be adding to the faces of the fins just to give them a little visual appeal and to kind of mimic the construction of the original. Clearly, I am not making a full-scale replica here. I would very much like to. I just don't have a place to put one. This is about a 1/4 scale version, and we'll talk about what it's for in a minute. This is going to be part of the nose cone. Now, I just need to make everything in between. There are numerous ways of what just happened? Ow. There are numerous ways of making a circle like this, circle jigs and the like. I just made this one manually. But for the 4 levels of the rocket ship, I think I'm going to automate those over on my robot. Rockets and robots. All of my interests coming together. Should put a bourbon dispenser at the top. However, I've got to get some sizing right first, so I thought I should go ahead and tell you who I'm making this for. You see, I recently brought on a shop assistant. This is Sputnik. Say hi. One take, we got that in one take. He just showed up a few weeks ago outside my workshop demanding a job. And you're officially a shop cat now. He's extremely unhelpful and very rigid about his lunch breaks. He has also started to climb on everything. So I am making him his very own playground rocket ship. And like the original, it's going to have access holes between the levels. So I've got to make sure I size them to fit. So I found this in my scrap bin. I don't remember what it was for, but it's about the right size hole. So maybe we'll see if we can get this to work. Come here. Psst. Hey, can you fit through here? Can you fit up through here? Come on. Psst. Come here. Come on. Right here. Look. Look. Hey. Hey, here's a treat. Here's a treat. Come on. Get. All right, I was just repeating this for the camera. He already did this yesterday, and yes, it fits. We'll be taking this show on the road in the fall. Don't lick the... Enjoy those while you can. In a week and a half, you're not going to have them anymore. I drilled a bunch of tiny holes with a V-bit to start with. Hopefully, those are going to mark positions around each of the discs I'm about to cut, indicating where I am going to need to drill a whole lot of holes. We'll see if it works. All right, now I have already set myself up a fixture here on the old Shopsmith so I can line these up and drill into the edges. These are going to be the pilot holes that all the vertical bars attach to. Using the Shopsmith 2 videos in a row now. Usually this thing sits over in the corner for months. My little V-bit tick marks, they worked okay. Some were easier to see than others, but I couldn't go very deep with them because they have to disappear with just an 1/8 inch roundover. They did work, however, well enough that I didn't have to use the paper template that I made as a backup. Saved me from having to transfer a whole bunch of lines on here first. I went back and I redesigned this part of the nose cone slightly for reasons that are not obvious. It should make it a little easier for somebody to reproduce because I am offering project plans for this, linked down in the video description. I want to see you guys make a version of your own, whether it's for a cat or it could just be shelves. Now, because this is going at the top, all of the vertical bars are going to come up at an angle and attach to this here. That's why this is a chamfered. So I've got to drill all the pilot holes at 45 degrees. And you could do this by hand. It doesn't have to be super accurate, but I like jigs and fixtures. So when I get to the point where I can start assembling this thing, I'm gonna have to attach the fins to the platforms that I just drilled. The problem is nothing meets at 90 degrees. The top 2 intersections are acute and the bottom one is very obtuse.
What did you call me?
I initially just bought some basic metal brackets that I ended up bending in a vise to the proper angles. In fact, you may notice a continuity error later in the video where I install these instead of the ones that I end up using. That's because I was very nearly done with this project when I was offered an opportunity that led me to replacing these with something a little more aesthetically pleasing. And I'm super excited about this. This is BAMBU Labs X1 Carbon 3D printer. I have been coveting one of these because I've heard nothing but amazing things from everybody about this machine, and they were right. This thing is crazy fast. It does multicolor printing. It can automatically detect what kind of filament you put in it, so it knows what settings to use. It totally calibrates itself using harmonics or something. I don't know. It does this crazy jittery dance. You don't have to manually check anything. It uses LiDAR and a built-in camera to monitor your print while it's printing, so it can warn you of any issues along the way. Although I have not so far encountered any. I've been playing with this, mostly using just default settings, and I can just let it go and go inside and watch Star Trek and monitor the whole thing on my phone with video. And this thing, it's like my own replicator. I just let it go. It makes things for me. It's like they've taken everything everybody's learned about 3D printers so far and stuck it in one machine. This thing, it just works. And I have already printed up a few test brackets in both regular PLA and in carbon fiber PLA. And these things they're surprisingly strong. Even the regular PLA, I could probably break this if I really wanted to, but there's going to be 3 of these on each fin, so I think these are going to hold just fine. So while I print up a batch of these, I can start assembling the fins, which I already have. I've shot this completely out of order now. Just go with it. If you did grow up near a playground rocket, it was almost certainly one of 3 models. First, there was the very pragmatically named Spaceship from Miracle Equipment Company, sometimes listed as the model XS1, introduced in 1964 and looking very much like NASA's recently introduced Saturn I. Sit down, nobody's going anywhere. If your town had the money, it could be expanded into what Miracle called Astro City, with additional spacecraft, slide pads, and ramps. A bit more budget-friendly, at least I assume, was Game Time's equally unimaginatively named Space Rocket, which could be ordered as either the 2-level Model 1099 or, for $85 more, the 3-level Model 1098. I went on a deep dive. I burned an entire weekend on this. My personal favorite, though, is the Model F1 moon rocket introduced by JAMISON Manufacturing in 1958. It was 26 feet tall, had 4 levels, and featured a control station at the top. As far as I'm concerned, this was the sexiest of the 3, with its curvaceous fins and subtly bulbous upper decks. That is the model on which I'm basing Sputnik's version. Now, there was one more version that popped up across Australia. According to a news article I found, a civil engineer named John Yeaman traveled to the US in 1961 and upon returning to Australia, drew up plans with the same specifications as the JAMISON moon rocket. It's unclear exactly how Yeaman obtained his original plans. It could have been totally legit, but what I'm calling the Yeaman moon rocket is an almost exact copy of the JAMISON. I told you, I went on a deep dive. In fact, I have discovered that more of these playground rockets have survived than I previously thought. I am still working on it, but I have compiled a database of existing rockets and have added a map of their locations to my website. If you know of one that is not on the map, please send it to me through the submission form. Link below. If you're planning to get the plans for this and make a rocket of your own, you don't have to have one of these to cut aluminum bar. You can cut this stuff with a hacksaw. It'll take a little longer, but it's not difficult. In fact, I recently did a video on working with aluminum. I'll leave a link down in the description. Working with aluminum in many ways is a lot like working with wood. It's not that hard to cut or drill. Although I suppose you could probably do these out of thin strips of solid wood also. In fact, I'd like to see somebody do that. I have never had a whole lot of luck stacking up material like this and drilling it all at one time. No matter what, once the bit gets through that first layer, things start to wiggle and the bit starts to wander and I end up with a bunch of wonky holes. For some things it's okay, but for this, I don't know, these are only 1/2 inch wide. I'd like to get them nice and straight. So I have set myself up a fixture with a reference mark. I'm going to use a stubby center bit to eliminate wandering, and I'm just going to drill these one at a time. Sometimes it's nice to do a repetitive task like this. Just turn on some music and shut your brain off for a while. All right, yeah, so that, oh, poke me right in the ass. So yeah, that did not take me nearly as long as I thought it would for 112 holes. So now, I've taken the advice of some of my viewers who commented on my my aluminum, sorry. There are still people in the comments who are confused why I was saying aluminum. Don't skip the intro. Several of my viewers suggested I get myself a convolute wheel, a particular type of wheel used for deburring. Now I wanted to get a 3M version of this, but I couldn't get it here in time, so I'm trying this off-brand, which was also much cheaper. I always link to my tools down in the video description, by the way. I think it's similar to the 3M model that's here on the screen, but we're about to find out if it works. If it does, that'll be great, because I never really liked deburring stuff like this with my little belt sander. Oh yeah. Ah yes, thank you commenters. That is nice, made quick work of that. Nicely rounded off, just the right amount. Good and safe for the toe beans. Yeah, I'm a person who says toe beans now. All right, I think this is ready to assemble. By the way, while I was working on this video, I dug up a low-resolution copy of John Yeaman's plans for his rocket slide that I mentioned earlier. I turned those into a 3D model of the original, and from that I was able to draft a fresh set of detailed blueprints, which I then turned into a laser-engraved panel similar to the ray gun patents that you guys liked so much. I'm still working on a few of the details, but it is currently available for pre-order over on my website. I'll be able to start filling those orders here in a few weeks, but it is first come, first served, so be sure to get your order in early. So personally, I find Phillips head screws aesthetically to be hideous. And I'm gonna have a whole lot of screws holding these bars on. So when it comes to something like this, I prefer to use like a hex socket, or in this case, square drive. From a fair distance, they look a little more like rivets. Huh, that worked. Now, the last 4 of these are shorter because they line up with the fins. So they fasten directly to the top of the fins through the back. Now, full disclosure, I actually had to put this entire thing together twice. As I discovered, going around in a circle the way I did, it starts off by putting a bunch of tension on the first side. By the time I get all the way around, the entire thing, it was completely wonky. So I had to totally dismantle it and start again, putting these on, alternating from one side to the other. Kind of like tightening lug nuts when changing a tire. But the whole thing it's totally straight now. Well, except one fin is just a little bit short, but I can stick a shim under there. And I have gone through and replaced all of the metal brackets with the 3D printed ones, which are holding up great. I decided to go ahead with the carbon fiber because, well, if it's good enough for a submarine. Now, I just need one more thing, and that's a nose cone. I was hoping to make one out of aluminum on my slip roll, but I realized I can't make a full cone with that. I can only make what's basically an open top funnel. So I'm gonna take the coward's way out and 3D print one. Actually, I take that back. A 36-hour print, uninterrupted on the Texas electrical grid, that takes balls. Okay, all right, so I have to correct myself first. The 36 hours I mentioned before was actually 35 hours, 11 minutes. That was printing this the first time on my old printer before I got the BAMBU. Same model, although I added a few lines to the walls for some strength and some extra support material. But even with that, on this machine, just under 9 hours. Now, full disclosure, I do have a bit of a flaw on the outside where this bottom cavity ends, but I think that's my fault for making this upper part thinner and not putting anything in here to help support it while I was printing. Still, a day and a half versus 9 hours. Yes, BAMBU Lab is sponsoring this video, but I'm not exaggerating how much I am loving this printer. All right, yeah, so it was already red, but it wasn't the correct red. Regardless, all of that work was for naught because I dropped and broke it off camera. It split right where that flaw was, so I can now see that this was in fact a problem with my design, so I will fix this for the project plans. But I'm gonna go ahead and attach this one, and to do that, I included 3 screw holes in the bottom, although they are not threaded. Now they make heat set threaded inserts specifically for 3D printing. You heat them up and press them into the plastic, but I don't have any of those, so I am just going to super glue in these rivet nuts. And that is a perfect fit. Except for it being, you know, split in half, of course. But hey, that's just another opportunity for me to play with my BAMBU printer. If you're interested in getting one, by the way, they gave me an affiliate link, which you can follow down in the video description, and I thank you for doing so. All right, 3 screws was probably overkill. I'll probably just put one right in the middle. Now, you may be saying, where's the slide on this rocket slide? Well, I kept thinking of it as a slide for some reason, and I didn't figure Sputnik would want to go down a slide. But one of my patrons made me realize it could be more of a carpeted ramp, something to climb on, maybe a scratching surface. So I may end up adding that in the future. If I do, I'll probably post that over on Instagram so you can follow me over there. I love how this turned out. But the real question is Sputnik going to like it? All right. Look! Look! Behind you! The red thing! Sputnik! Look! Look! Terrific. Damn it! Sputnik. Hey! Come here, you jerk. You're making me look bad. Come here. He's not quite getting it. Up here. I built you a spaceship. That's no. Hey. Oh my God. You want a treat? Yeah, that's what I thought. It's up here. You gotta get it. There it is. Hey, hey, how about this? Space worm. Space worm. I am a failure. Sputnik. Yeah. Damn it. What if I put the whole bag up here? Haha. Success. Nice view up there, huh? Damn it. All right, so the truth is he hadn't been out in the shop in quite a while. So he had some exploring to do, but once he tired himself out, guess where he ended up? Are you tired? Look at that little face. Look at that sleepy little face. Ah, yeah, okay. Yes, you're welcome. You're welcome.